friends, this is Hedda. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another bullet journal plan with me video. In this video, I'm going to set up for August and I'm going for a warm and earthy gardening theme. I made these stickers for my patrons. Anyone who signs up to the top 2 tiers on my Patreon during July will get these in the mail, and then they will be available in the secret shop for all patrons in August. I also made printables and I used some of them in this setup. I actually printed some of the digital stickers out on washi paper, which has a really nice texture to it. So I really wanted to try that. I got it in Japan. It's like printable washi paper. It's awesome. And then I just cut some of them out with scissors. I don't have a cutting machine or anything. I also have a very old office jet printer, so nothing fancy, but I think that the colors turned out really nice on this washi paper, so I'm pretty happy with that. And because of the structure, the colors seem a little bit smoother. I did spill coffee on some of these accidentally, like right before I was gonna start filming. I accidentally knocked my coffee mug over. Luckily it didn't spill on my bullet journal. That would have been so sad. Only on some of the paper, and it survived, so it's all good. Honestly, the coffee just kind of added to the vibe. As usual, I'm going to start with a cover page. I make cover pages each month because I use them as a way to separate the months, and it's also a really great way to get really creative and just make something pretty just for the sake of it, because all the other spreads are going to have some kind of functionality and the cover page doesn't. It is just there to separate July and August, and all it needs is the title for August. This green washi tape that you see me placing right here is from Notebook Therapy. It's from the Mori washi tape set. It is currently sold out, but there are a lot of other beautiful washi tapes and stamps from Notebook Therapy. So I'll put links in the description box, and you can use my code mochibujo10 for 10% off your order. I went for a kind of terracotta colored marker for my August title. This is an Ohuhu dual tipped marker. I used the same marker to kind of add a little bit of shading to each letter, and then I used the Ohuhu white gel pen to add some highlights, and lastly I went over the whole thing with a brown fine liner. This one is from Unipin, and doing all of this to the title just kind of makes it pop a little bit, I think. Especially when making collage spreads like this one, it's important that the title stands out so that it doesn't drown in all the other components, because there's a lot going on the spread. So that's why I chose like a rusty red color for the title. I got this new ink pad in Japan. It's from Shachihata, and the color is Kuriiro, which is like a chestnut brown. It's quite dark, but it fit this setup perfectly, I think. I used some Notebook Therapy stamps, specifically the Hinoki Into the Fall stamps from last year. So they are fall themed, but it's mushrooms and strawberries and stuff, and that actually fits July and August a lot better, for Norway at least. There are some early mushrooms already, and August is the big mushroom month here in Norway. The doily is also from Notebook Therapy, and then this big piece of paper that I'm gluing down right here, one of you guys sent to me. So I don't know where it's from, but I really like the size of it, and the brown color was just perfect. It fits perfectly on this cover page because it can take up so much space. It's a good way to kind of fill a lot of the page without it being too overwhelming because it is white. I added some circle stickers, some washi paper from Paper Monogatari, some paper from an old book that I got at a used bookstore in Japan. I got 2 books for 50 yen, which is basically free. They are really old and they smell really old. This girl that I drew for my cover page is actually kind of inspired by an apron that I got in Japan. I really wanted an apron. I wanted like a nice cotton one, and I found this almost black, like dark gray apron in Tokyo that I got. It is so comfortable and I wear it all the time, like when I'm cleaning, when I'm cooking, even when I'm eating, so that I don't spill any food on my clothes. And if I had a garden, I would wear it gardening, so that was the idea behind this drawing. I have these rub-on stickers that I got from Notebook Therapy a while ago, early last year maybe. I still have so many of them left that I haven't used, but they are the perfect color scheme for this setup. I don't know if it's because they're old or because I haven't been storing them well, but they took so long to take. Like I had to rub so much on them for them to take. And the one I tried to put in the bottom right corner here just didn't take at all. Like it didn't loosen from the plastic at all, so I just had to give up on that, which was just as well because I used one of my duck stickers instead, which let me put a duck on my cover page, so it's all good. The ducks are a big part of this theme actually. I have ducks on almost every single page, so yeah. If you've been keeping up with my monthly setup videos, then you'll know that this cover page is pretty different from the previous couple of months. Both June and July, I had a simpler cover page with a little goals section, stuff like that. But with this cover page, I just wanted it to be a cover page. I just wanted to make a big collage, just have lots of fun with the collaging, combining stamps and stickers and papers and washi tape, just all the good stuff. This makes me so happy to make spreads like this. It's probably my favorite part about bullet journaling, to be honest. The very last thing I did was to add some sparkles with my brown fine liner. I haven't been that good at adding sparkles to my spreads recently, so it's time for the sparkles to make a comeback, I think. And that was it for the cover page, so now we can move on to the next spread, which will be my calendar spread. And this month I went for a very traditional grid calendar. I made it big enough so that it would kind of cover the entire spread with just a little bit of decoration on the sides. So each daily box is 4 by 5 squares. I'm using dot grid paper and the dots are 1/2 centimeter apart. But instead of drawing the calendar directly into my journal, I cut out these strips of paper from some dot grid paper that I had lying around, and I actually went a little overboard with this spread. I decided to add some Kraft paper as a background. A couple of years ago, I used a Neapolitan notebook from Archer and Olive as my reading journal, and what was really cool about that notebook was that it alternated between white, Kraft and black paper, and it was really fun to have those different sections of paper, like different papers to get creative with and try different things. And I've really been missing that, I think, and I wanted to add Kraft paper background here to kind of imitate that look a little bit. Obviously it's not the same because adding this Kraft paper made my notebook so chunky because it had to go all the way into the middle. It definitely wasn't a perfect fit. I did mess up a little bit here and there, so it's not perfect, but it's good enough. Cut off the excess around the corners, like the edges of the notebook, and I can't close my notebook anymore because of this, because it's so thick. My notebook now has super chunk status, which, you know, it's okay. I'm only using this notebook for another month, and then I'm switching to the last notebook of the year for me. This year has been 3 traveler's notebook sized notebooks. This is always a mouthful. 3 traveler's notebook sized notebooks from Notebook Therapy. I am loving the size. I think it's really fun. Setting up a new notebook 3 times a year is a little bit too much for me, I think, so I don't think I'll be doing this again. Setting up 1 or even 2 notebooks is enough work. Anyway, back to this calendar spread. Because the calendar took up most of the spread, I decided to keep the decorations really minimal. I put 1 large piece of ephemera on the right side of the spread. I don't know where it's from. One of you guys sent it to me in a pen pal letter. And then in the top left corner, I put a frame and some Japanese paper because this is where my title will go. Just naturally, it happened this way because of how August is looking, I guess, because it starts on a Thursday, ends on a Saturday. My weeks start on Monday, so that meant that there was a little space in the top left corner of the calendar since there's no Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the first week of August, since those are in July. So that meant that I had a little bit of space in the top left corner. Not a lot, but a little bit. Oh, and to separate each day from the others, I used a very thin fine liner, a 0.1 brown fine liner to separate each day. I would have liked to have like each of the little rectangles be on their own and just glue all of them in on their own. But because it's dot grid paper and the background is dot grid, it would have just thrown me off with the dots being all skewed and in the wrong place. So I decided to not do that. For the dates, I used a sticker book from Isobova, which has a lot of different like monthly headers and numbers and all of that. So I just put those kind of half on, half off each of the days. I think it was a nice look. They are small enough so that they don't look out of place on the spread, and it's a nice like beige brown color. I glued down this girl in the bottom right corner. She kind of covers some of the Sundays a little bit, but it's okay. Nothing happens on Sundays, you know? It's supposed to be a chill day, no tasks. I decided to put little strips on the top here where I could write the days of the week. It's not really necessary, but I thought that it would look nice on the spread, and I also didn't really have anything at the top here, so I just wanted to fill a little bit more of the space at the top. Because I didn't have that much room for a header, like a title, and August takes up a lot of space, so I decided to just write an A. I tested out a couple of different fonts. First I went with kind of my usual swirly hand lettering, but I didn't feel like that was the vibe I wanted to go for. So I tried to make this kind of cursive serif font, and I think that looked just right for the spread. And I ended up using this type of font in my printables as well. I just felt like it fit the vibe very well. Looking at the video now, I realized that I didn't outline this A like I did with the title, and I'm pretty sure on the next spread on the title there I outline the letters as well, so I guess I just forgot, but it looks fine without an outline, so I guess it's all good. Moving on to the next spread, this is going to be my main tasks list for August. If you have been following me for a while, you might recognize this girl that I've drawn here. I printed her out on the washi paper as well. She is part of the journaling kit, but I actually drew this girl back in 2022. I made her into a vinyl sticker that I sent out to my patrons during that month. So you might have seen her as a vinyl sticker before. And I thought that since I was doing a kind of gardening theme again, and I was drawing girls and boys with aprons, I thought, you know, I should just let this girl have another moment. So in this month's journaling kit, the August journaling kit, I have included her in the printable sticker sheet, so anyone who is on the Margaret tier or above can print her out and use her in your journal. And she is really great for the cover page, for example, or for spreads like this, because it is a pretty large sticker. Of course, you can choose the size yourself if you're downloading the PNG. I wanted her to take up most of the space on the spread because the way I set up this task list is the same way I did in March and April, where I'm basically just making a big box, kind of not centered, but kind of centered. It's going more towards left. just to make the spread a little bit more interesting. So this way I can have a lot more decorations at the bottom and on the right side. I do also like that there is nothing other than tasks on the spread, so nothing to distract from the tasks except for the decoration, of course. For the title, I went again with this kind of cursive serif font. It was pretty hard to get it to look nice because this type of font, you need to have a certain uniformity, I guess, if that makes sense, like with height and the width of the letters. But you know, it worked out all right. I outlined it like I talked about earlier. Use the same gel pen to get the highlights, which makes the title pop a little bit more. I cut it out with scissors, but then I got out my cutting mat and my X-Acto knife and I cut out some of the holes, like inside of the A, inside of the K, and so forth, because I am building a little collage at the top of the spread as well, and I don't want the title to just be on a white blob. I want to be able to see a little bit of what's going on behind it. Usually I leave my task lists empty, but this time I decided to use these kind of tick marks that were also in one of the Isobova sticker books, just to try something new, and they were gorgeous green color that fit the theme perfectly, so I thought, why not? You might be thinking that there's very little room to write stuff on the right side, but basically I write tasks there that don't take up that much space, and anyway each task get 2 lines, so there is actually room for more than it seems. But yeah, on the right side I'll write stuff like September plan with me, which I just write September PWM and I will know that that is having to film and edit and publish my September plan with me video, which is coming out in August. I filled in just a little bit of the empty space with some stickers and sparkles, and I think that this spread looks quite nice. I'm happy with it. I'm excited to start using it. Well, I have actually filled in a few tasks already because I know August is going to be a busy month. And that is it for the spread, and we can move on to the fourth and the last spread that I am setting up in this notebook. And this spread is a little bit tricky because it is right where 2 signatures are glued together. So if you see kind of on the left side of the spread, the page looks like it's a little bit shorter than the pages behind it, but it's just because the 2 pages are glued together a little bit towards the inner seam of the notebook. So it's always a little bit challenging and a little bit annoying when you get to those pages. At least I feel that way, but it is what it is. I can still use the page. So on this spread, I am making a weekly plan and a habit tracker. If you remember last month, I made a whole spread that kind of had the weekly plan, things I would focus on for each week of July. It kind of fell a little bit apart because it's summer, but I did feel like I had a little bit too much space because I didn't want it to be a task list. I just wanted it to be kind of a focus or like a weekly goal kind of. So I'm doing just a half spread this time, and I am bringing back the habit trackers for the other side of the spread. I haven't done habit trackers in a while, but I think it's time to bring them back, and maybe for some of you guys it's time to bring them back as well. I know that every country has different school years and work years, but here in Norway, July is like the main vacation month, and then in August, late August, students go back to school, university. Usually when people start a new job after the summer, it will be sometime in August. And I just thought it's good to have this mindset of like starting something new. And so I thought I would try to bring that mindset into my own journal for August, bringing back the habit tracker, trying to create a little bit more structure. It is a very nice problem to have, being able to work from home. It's great, it's wonderful. But it does also mean that sometimes if I'm not paying very close attention, things can go a little bit out of hand, and I'm not always the most structured and disciplined person. So I am trying trying to keep myself on track, but it is hard sometimes. So just trying to bring a little bit more structure and discipline into my journal for August, and then hopefully it will rub off on everything else in my life as well. A girl can dream, okay? I am hoping for a wonderful August, not just for me, but for you as well. I feel like there's always so many fun things happening in August. Lots of birthdays, parties, just everyone wanting to enjoy the summer before it goes away and becomes a cold and long winter. By the way, to make this spread look as neat as possible, because there's a lot of boxes going on, I used the same Kraft paper here as I used on the calendar spread, by the way. I decided to make the boxes the same size. So on each side, they are both 7 centimeters long and 1.5 centimeters tall. Those are the boxes on the left, and then the habit trackers are the same, except I just cut off the last few days so that there would only be 31 boxes, since August is 31 days long. And so that way there is some symmetry on the spread, because there are 5 boxes on each spread and they are the same width and roughly the same height. And for titles, because the headers would be kind of large if I wrote them out with a marker, weekly plan and habit tracker, I decided to use my own alphabet stickers. These are in my shop. I'll put a link down below. And I used a green one to just write the titles. The titles are fairly small, but because there's not that much happening at the top of the spread, I think that it's really visible and not really a problem at all. All that's left to do now is to write the week numbers here, 31 through 35, and that's it for the spread, and that is also it for this whole monthly setup. I'll be posting shorts here on YouTube and reels on Instagram of the weekly spreads that I'll be making throughout the month. But for now, let's take a look at the spreads that I made in this video, and let's enjoy the warm and calm vibes of the setup. If you watched this video all the way to the end, be sure to put a potted plant emoji in your comment to let me know. Thank you so much for watching this video and for subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate it. And of course, the biggest thank you to my patrons. You guys are the best, and I am so appreciative of all of my patrons. There is a link to my Patreon in the description box below if you want printables and stickers and behind the scenes newsletters and stuff like that. That is the place for you. Before you leave today, make sure that you click the like button on this video, because that really helps telling YouTube that this is good content and more people will get to see it. I hope you enjoyed this theme. I definitely enjoyed setting it up, and I'm very excited to set up my weekly spreads as well. I just love summer so much. Let me know in the comments below if you have a favorite plant or a favorite summer activity that you like to do wherever you live. I would love to know. And with that, all that's left to say is I hope that you're all having a lovely day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!